Alright, so today we're going to be installing a Lamin-x headlight tint and protective covers. So we have a tint for the front headlights, a yellow for the fog lights. And if we come around back here, we have a tint for the rear lights as well. So let's get it down to the shop and we'll check it out. Alright, so here we have our tools. We have our own water bottle, the little water sprayer that they provide you, the provided little blade, provided squeegee, microfiber cloth, installation instructions, a heat gun, which is probably going to be necessary to warm up and bend the film a little bit since the tail lights are pretty curved and the headlights are pretty curved too. And then we have our rolls of film here, so we're going to get started with the tail lights and we'll see how it goes. The tail lights and then the surrounding surfaces. So they suggested just using some water, just lightly spraying it on there, and then using a microfiber or lint-free cloth just to get any residue off. To really get all the edges of the light. That way if we have to wrap the Lamin-x on the sides of the light, I'll make sure it has a nice clean surface to stick to. Alright, so we're going to start with one of the easier lights to do. So we're going to be starting with the tail lights and reverse lights that are built into the hatch. So just making sure I have the right piece. Obviously it doesn't go here. So they have little handling tabs. So what you do is lightly mist the area with the provided sprayer. It's a very light mist. Now we're going to peel this off of the backing, making sure just to hold the handling tabs. And then we'll be able to roughly line it up. And the nice thing is, if you start in a corner, you can kind of line it up and reapply it as need be. So like I'm not doing a great job, but you can kind of take your time and get it where you want it to. And this is where, if you take the application card and then a cloth, you can kind of peel it up a little bit and slowly go down with it to try to find the line you're looking for. But you want to apply very light pressure in case you're not completely satisfied with your line. I definitely think I'm going to have to fix mine, but I will play around with this and I'll be right back. Alright, so I'm happy with that overall fitment. So then next in the instructions it says just to mist it, and then you can use the squeegee, you can use it with a cloth on it. It says you don't need it, that's why you missed it. But I already did this a little bit, so you're going to start from the middle, and then push any air bubbles or any excess moisture or anything out to the outside edges. Like I said, I already pretty much did this, and it's looking pretty good, and I didn't have to use any heat to help seal these down. So yeah, you kind of just work it out a little bit, and then yeah, now we can trim next. So we're happy with that. Alrighty, so we got our alignment pretty good, we got everything fixed up. So we're just gonna be nice and careful, and we're just cutting off these little handling tabs. This is pretty easy, kind of just follow the shape of the headlight, be careful not to nick any of your paint. They do say you can score it if you want, so you can just not cut fully through it, just so that way you can peel it off. But in this scenario, I'm able just to lightly, barely cut through all of it, And then I got all of my alignment tabs out. I think I have one tiny air bubble right there. That actually might be, nope, that's part of my tail light. So if there's a little haziness or cloudiness or anything, they said that will disappear. So now the only thing is, if there's a little excess, I can trim it more, or I can tuck it over. Alrighty, so we got the reverse light done. So next we're going to be doing the main taillight portion. Just making sure it all fits up and thinking. So I'm probably going to start with this corner to align this edge and this edge first, because it's not perfectly 90 degrees, but it's close. And then I'm going to work my way back to the more curved teardrop shape of the taillight. This one I'm guessing I'm going to have to use some heat on, but we'll see what happens when I get there. So I'm going to get this started and start working on it, and I'll update if there's any problems. Alright, so I changed my mind. So I actually started lining up in this because this is a pretty good flat area too, in this teardrop area. And then gonna work my way down here. I have these giant chunks, if you can see those. So yeah, we're gonna try hitting those with the heat gun after I kind of smooth this out a little bit and see how it does from there. Alright, so I just finished this tail light, so there's a comparison. It's not too dark. I didn't want to go crazy dark. I almost wish I had gone just one step darker, but still looks great. So there's some cloudiness and some bubbles and stuff, but those are supposed to disappear as the film cures. I did have to trim it a little bit and it looks terrible, but I'm gonna try to use heat when I do the other side, so that way I don't have to trim like that. I tried working it out, but I don't know, it might be in there. That's alright, this is my first time, and I mean that's all I had to trim off though, so it wasn't a terrible amount. So yeah, I'm gonna get to work on the other side, and if I find any other useful tips or any other troubles, I'll start recording. Alrighty, so I just finished up the rear tail light, and I did not have to cut at all. I have like some tiny little things that might not go away. The rest is all just air bubbles and haze, but I used quite a bit of heat, so that way I was actually, not quite a bit, but I used a decent amount of heat, so that way I was able to stretch it more. So I was able to get around this curve right here in the light, and then I actually have a good amount of excess, but that's okay because I'll trim all that off. Alrighty, so now we're moving on to the front end. We have yellow fogs, and oh, I should have unrolled them, but I have the same exact color tint for the headlights as the tail lights. I took out the little surround of the fog light. It was just a little push clip. I just pried it lightly with a screwdriver, and then the rest of the clips just popped right out, so that way I have full access to the fog light, and I'll update as I finish that. Alrighty, so I can actually record this entire thing because this is going to be super easy. So we just missed it, and we're going to peel the backing off, and then we're going to hold just the handling tabs, and we're going to line it up on the fog light, and just use the squeegee, go from the middle out to get any excess water or air bubbles out. That one's being a little bit of a pain. There we go. We can always readjust if we need to. Fix our alignment just a little bit. Got a couple last little air bubbles. just going to take the provided knife. Oop, didn't get that very well. There we go. Take off the excess and just squeegee those corners back down. And that's all set. So I did just hit it with the heat gun really quick. There was just a couple stubborn bubbles. So I just hit those with the heat gun and then just smoothed them out with my fingers. And now it is perfect. Alright, so we're going to do the same thing for the front headlight. We already cleaned it off. So we're going to mist it. Nice and light, not saturate. And then this shouldn't be as bad as the rear. So we're going to start in this corner and work way back towards the curve, because this is the only curve, so it should be a little easier than the tail lights. We'll probably just heat it up when we start getting around here to get around that curve, but this should be pretty straightforward. Alright, so we got the fitment pretty good, so we're going to start working our way up from the bottom. And I'm just going to keep working from the middle area to the outsides, so either to the bottom or to the top, and just squeeze out those excess air bubbles. Like I said, once I get to about right here where the headlight starts to curve, that's when I'm going to pause, use a little heat just to help it stretch and wrap around a little bit. But so far, this is a pretty flat surface, so it's going on pretty good. No real issues. It's just going on super nice. There's a good amount of excess at the top and the bottom, so that's kind of odd, but that's alright because we'll just trim it all off. So that's one side done, and then that's stock, just full clear. So this one I did awesome, you know, since it was the 6th sticker I applied, or wrap, whatever you want to call it. So I mean, there's almost no cloudiness, which all should go away. There's no bubbles. The only problem I had was right here. I had to just cut a little excess fluid, and so excess. Alright, so to wrap this video up, we have a couple photos of the finished product, and we have the back end first. So you can see it just added a little bit of tint and darkness overall to the rear lights. Nothing overwhelming, but it looks a lot better with the black car. And then we have a photo kind of in more of a shaded area, so it makes the headlights look a little darker than they actually are. But as you can see with my truck in the background that has no tint or anything done to the lights, they're a lot clearer. So the tint definitely worked. Looks really good. I really like the yellow fog light covers. I really think those make the fog lights pop. And then on the last shot here, just another nice shot of the car. I really think the tint just added just a little bit of difference to the car to help us stand out.